Chapter 1. And so it begins. They say the world will end not with a bang, but with a whimper. Unfortunately for me, mine ended with a bang. Well, that is, if you qualify a godly mistake as a bang. You know how it goes by now. Random omnipotent being or Rob drops lighting on a poor kid or accidentally sends truckcun to grab your soul or mistakes you for another person and kills you early. Well, all of those happened to me. Got struck by lightning while crossing the street, and truckcun decided to pay a visit a few minutes later. I guess lying in the middle of a crosswalk passed out on a rainy day didn't help truckcun spot me. All because I had the same name as a guy who was insulting Rob. But to be honest, it isn't so bad. Thanks to that, I am now standing in front of an apologetic God and not in endless torture because he caught his mistake last second. And you know what comes next. Oh well, this is awkward and eternity living, and I can't believe it happened to me. All the other gods are gonna start making fun of me now. Even after I made fun of them because of it, I have done the same. Well, kid, today is your lucky day. You get to be reincarnated. Let's get this out of the way as fast as I can, so I can try to hide this before anyone finds out. So tell me, which world do you want to be reincarnated in? Oh, I guess you're still in shock from dying. Let me fix that. Here, I'll make it so you're calm-minded as a freebie until I reincarnate you. Oh, thanks. What do you mean, which world? Any world? Do I get wishes? Cheat powers? Yes, any world, anime, game, TV, etc. Any will do. As for cheats or wishes, no can do. I'll give you the chance to reincarnate as whomever you want, maybe give you a small favor, but only something pretty minor. Well, in that case, I want to be Rimuru Tempest. Just after he was reincarnated into a slime. But please, allow me to have my little brother when I become human. I do not wish to be a genderless slime. If that is it, then I see no problem with that. Goodbye. Intermission. I can't see. I can't hear. Where am I? The last thing I remember is oh. Great Sage, are you there? Understood. Skill Great Sage is present. Awesome, I can't believe it is true. Alright, it is time to get ready. Sage, please assist me in feeling the magicules in the area to create the skill Magic Sense. Understood. Analyzing magicules. Extra skill Magic Sense acquired. Use skill? Yes, please. And suddenly I was overwhelmed. Bright colors and such a clear sight I was not used to in my previous life. If it wasn't for Sage, it would probably take me a few hours to days to be able to process all this information with enough skill to move without feeling sick, but integration of Magic Sense with the skill Great Sage has been successful. Information will now be processed by Great Sage. That notification was enough to make my sight clear. Alright, time to get to eating as many hypocoot herbs and magisteel as possible. Intermission. Without being blind, gathering materials and heading towards Baldora was as easy as it could be. Using a minimum provided by the oh-so-gracious Sage, I made my way deeper until I came across something, or well, someone quite terrifying. Unless you knew how he actually was. To tell the truth, meeting a dragon for the first time was both awesome and terrifying. I am sure that if I had a proper digestive system, I would have struggled to not shit my pants with the aura this dude was releasing. Nevertheless, approached the big dragon, and the next thing I knew, I had a new buddy. Howdy, my good fellow, fancy seeing you here. To think I would meet someone else in this cave. To tell you the truth, buddy, it's been quite boring and lonely to wander around this cave without knowing the exit. Though I did have a good day playing in the water on the way here. Are you not scared of me? Wahahaha, mere slime is staring right at me, Valdora, and dares to call me buddy. Wahahaha. Has the world truly forgotten me? Oh well, slime, tell me, do you intend to become my friend? And just like that, I made a new friend. I took a potato dragon and ate it and got ready to leave the cave. Of course, having some snacks on the way out in the form of bats, snakes, and spiders. I could not wait to go outside. Eat some monsters. Gain some abilities. Build a kingdom. Get a harem. Do some. Understood. Rimuru Tempest is a typical harem-seeking virgin. Yo, Sage. If you don't chill by the time you evolve enough to get a body, you ain't getting the D. Skill Great Sage is trying to evolve forcefully. Request failed. Request failed. Request failed times 1 billion. Understood. Skill Great Sage will chill. Request failed. Skill Resist Cold has evolved into Null Cold. Null Cold has merged with Resist Heat to create Null Temperature. Anyways, as I was listening to Great Sage talking and I was standing next to the door to exit the cave. And now we wait. Chapter 2. Meeting Goblins, Taming Wolves. Well, the wait wasn't that long. I guess when a giant storm dragon disappears you probably want some quick response time. In just a few hours of hanging around the door, I saw a small group of adventurers enter the cave. And in that group, there was one person that stood out. The beautiful elven girl who was disguised as a human Ellen. Yup, I made the right choice by choosing this world. I can see the bright future ahead of me. Anyway, since I do not yet have a human form, it might not be a great idea to show myself, so I guess I will just have to sneak by the door into the outside world. And the moment I stood outside I was amazed. The thing with magic sense is that it is not just any regular sight. It allows you to see more than any human eyes could see, and what I saw was currents of magicules gushing out of the cave. It looked like a miniature aurora borealis. Alright Sage, it is time for us to find some goblins and create what will become the mightiest kingdom in the world. Understood. Magic sense scan has started. The approximate location of life forms is 1.5 miles west of the current location. Let's go. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. She sells seashells by the seashore. I can speak. Testing 1 2 3. And while doing my speech practice I headed straight to where I could find some goblins. Oh great mighty lord, why have you come to our humble village? We request you to please not destroy us, for we are just mere goblins. Alright Sage, Operation First Impression has been successful, time to hide the magicules. And just like that, I went from a monster releasing an aura full of magicules to your average everyday slime. No worries my dear friends. My name is Rimuru Tempest, and I have come here as a friend of the great storm dragon. And I intend to unite and protect the monsters from this great forest. Now if you lead me to your village I may start with your village so that it may become a great kingdom in the future. Not gonna lie, I cringed a little because of the words coming out of my mouth, but if I trust my gut, this is the way to go with the monsters that are in the forest. And well, what is a little cringe when I can earn the respect and loyalty of the people? At this, the goblins froze. Not a word came out of their mouths. And just as I began to worry that I may have just perhaps overdone it a bit, I saw small tears begin to form on their eyes. It can't be. A protector who will make a mighty kingdom from our village. Is this the one who we have hoped would save us from our misery? Please follow us great Sir Rimuru. We shall take you to the village chief and he shall discuss things with you. Oof, could have been a close call. Maybe I will need to speak a bit more normally to them in the future, but looking at them, I think it is too late for now. After a few minutes of walking, we arrived at a crappy little village. With buildings that were barely holding together. I wonder how long they would have lasted if Rimuru had never arrived here in the original story. A few of the goblins went ahead of me to gather everyone, and in a few minutes, I had a small group of goblins at my feet. Or well, blob. Body? The feet are equivalent to slime. It would be a lie to say that I wasn't a bit uncomfortable in front of them. Imagine a bunch of green children kneeling in front of you. Some of which have wrinkles. Cough cough. I'm sure some of you are wondering why you are gathered here. Well, I am here to assist you in growing and becoming stronger. As those words leave my mouth, I release my magicules for a second, so those who hadn't felt them felt inspired, and to do so I will have to give you names. I hope you don't disappoint me, and I hope we can work together to build a better future. Show me with your hard work that your names will be well deserved. With those words, a cheer erupted from them. It seemed as if nothing could ruin their day until. Oh. Wolf howls could be heard in the distance. A trace of fear in their faces was quickly replaced by determination. It was still daytime, which meant we had a few hours before they would attack. More than enough for Spider Slime to prepare a good all trap. It seems your names will have to wait until the morning. I don't want to risk going to sleep or not having enough magicules before the fight. I'll fight this for you, but after you evolve you must practice your fighting techniques. I won't be here every second of every day. With the help of Great Sage, I could probably build some semi-stable houses if I used my analysis skills, but I shouldn't destroy the houses if I can help it. After all I had to do was eat some trees and then make some spikes in my stomach to forces the wolves to come from just one direction. After dining on some fine greenery, a fence made of spikes was placed around the village. And when the wolves started to survey before their attack, they realized that only one way was safe to enter. Father, my instincts are screaming this is dangerous. And the demon that we felt during our hunt this morning. I can smell his presence in that village. I think we should retreat for now. Have you gone mad? We are the dire wolves. We do not fear mere goblins. We consume them. And soon enough everything in this forest will be out for the taking. We will not cower in fear." With those words, the wolves charged towards the entrance where a singular blue slime stood firm. "Oh? So you're approaching me? I can't eat you without getting closer," howled the wolf leader. "You took the words from my mouth. I hope dogs don't mind a bit of water." As the wolf leader led the charge, he was lucky enough to have the moon reflecting from the threads for a split second. Which was enough for him to see an opening. "It's a trap. Everyone stop, I shall take care of this slime, and once we make our way in we can cut through the threads." As soon as those words left his mouth, he jumped through a small gap in the threads and straight at Rimuru. And just as he was a few feet away, everything went dark. Swish. And just like that, the wolf was dead. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, that was close. See, this is why great leaders delegate. You let your people build a fence and you build the slime web. Lesson learned. Anyways, time for dinner. Skill keen smell has been acquired. Skill thought communication has been acquired. Skill intimidation has been acquired. Mimicry dire wolf has been acquired. I turned into a dire wolf and combined with the use of intimidation I screamed. Your leader has fallen. Submit or die, just as he has. One by one all the wolves bowed down and one of them, who had a star-shaped mark on his forehead, spoke for them. We pledge our allegiance to you. All right, time to call it a night and get ready for the naming tomorrow. Chapter 3. Naming and a new form. Now I had a plan for naming. I would name the wolves first, as they would take the most magicules, and then slowly name the rest of the goblins, so that I do not go into sleep mode. I had a couple of plans on a deadline. First of all, the ogre village. I had to make sure it wasn't destroyed. Not just because Kijin girls are beautiful. But every single one of the ogres that survived the attack ended up becoming a massive powerhouses. Imagine how much of a strength boost it would be to have a whole village of ogres who evolved into Kijin. However, the naming process would have to wait until after I gain the skill degenerate for better evolved skills. Naming them with my current skills would be a wasted potential. As for Shizu, I wanted to save her. But I wasn't sure if she wanted to be saved. I had a plan I had run through Great Sage that could potentially restore her body to health and youth, however, it would be her choice. I do not want to force her decision. If my estimates were correct, I had around a month before Shizu arrived. And since the ogres arrived a few days after Shizu had died, it meant I had less than a month to convince the ogres to join me and stop the orcs from killing most of them. And if I wanted to convince them to join me, well, maybe they would be more convinced if my village wasn't barely standing. I guess I should head to the Dwarven kingdom first and bring back the Dwarven builders. Well, let's begin with the names. For the new leader of the dire wolves, I give you the name Ranga. I felt the magicules leave my body, and at that moment I realized how much of Rimuru had messed up by naming them last. Great Sage, how many goblins can I name and still be at a safe magicule count to name the rest tomorrow without going into sleep mode? Understood. The current magicules allow for naming 52 of the 80 goblins. With 10 hours of rest, the remaining goblins can be safely named. Chief, come here and bring your son. Yes, Lord? What was the name of your son who has passed? Rigor, sir. From now on your name is Rigard. And your son, his name shall be Rigor. Thank you so much, sir, we will never forget this kindness. And one by one I started naming the goblins. Goban, Gobtwo, Gobter, Gobfer, Gobfev, Gobsi, Gobsev, Gabe, Gobni, Gobton. The only one who did not receive a name following the numbers was the standout Gobta. He was easy to recognize, and I wanted to avoid the confusion of giving him a different name. During the naming breaks, I decided to gather information about the surrounding area. The ogre village was around 1 or 2 hours south, and the lizard man village was around the same distance east. And as soon as everyone finished evolving, I had a realization. Evolving makes everyone so hot. Most hobgoblins, except Gobta, have grown to almost 6 feet and now were ripped. And all the goblinas had grown to around 5 feet and now had curves in all the right places. Not that their goblin clothing helped at all to hide their skin. Focus, Rimuru, focus, you'll have time for this once you ensure 300 ogres aren't annihilated. Rigard, we need to go and buy supplies and maybe get a few artisans. Do you have anyone who can take me to the Dwarven kingdom? Yes, Lord Rimuru, Gobta has been to their kingdom before and knows the way. He and my son can accompany you on your journey. Alright, we will take some of the wolves to make the journey faster. But first, gather everyone around to the center of the village. I have an announcement to make. Hello everyone, I'm sure you are wondering why I have called you all. And well, it is to give a few simple rules. As we grow from a village to a city to a kingdom, we will encounter many difficulties along the way. One of them is the fact that we are monsters. But there is a way to prevent the problems before they happen. And that is by being respectful toward everyone. You may think you are stronger because of your evolution, but remember how you used to be before. If you feel the need to protect yourself, do. But do not start conflicts out of nowhere. We will grow and add many races to our city. And for that reason, be nice to each other. That is it. I will be heading to the Dwarven kingdom to collect supplies for a few days. While I am gone, collect supplies to build. And once I am back, let us begin to build our city. Skill Black Lighting and Shadow Step received. Mimicry Dire Wolf has evolved into Mimicry Tempest Wolf. Ranga, you have grown. I have master, thanks to your kindness me, and my pack have grown stronger. That is good to hear. We are heading towards the Dwarven kingdom for a few days in a few hours. And it would be my honor to be your Mount Lord Rimuru. I practiced my skills along the way, made a bit of a commotion, got sent to jail, healed some dwarfs, and made some swords. And next thing you know, I was entering a Dwarven nightclub called the Night Butterfly. To say that no amount of preparation could have prepared you for the people who were inside. Revealing clothing paired up with their perfectly smooth skin and long elven ears. With beauties ranging from legal lowly to a MILF. Great sage, it will work, right? Sai understood. Yes, it will. In my stupor, I got picked up by a blonde, white-skinned mature elf. Wearing a thin green dress. Look at him, such a cute slime. He is just so huggable. What? No, I saw him first. I should be the first one to hug him, said a silver-haired dark-skinned elf. And well, if there was a heaven, I'm sure it would be this. Being squished by a couple of soft breasts almost made me forget my plan. Air. Wait a second. I have a request. Let me tell you. If anything can make you feel vulnerable is being stared at by a group of beautiful women with stars in their eyes. Oh my lord, he can talk. I can't believe slimes could get any cuter. Anything for you, my sweetie. Well, pull yourself together, man, don't embarrass yourself. I want to ask if I can wrap myself around one of you. I have something called mimicry, but it requires me to analyze a body before changing. There was a beat of silence before melodious laughter rang around the room. Oh my, who would have thought we would have a perverted slime? Fear not, sister, for I shall sacrifice myself for this cause, said the blonde elf who had picked me up first. Thank you, I said before quickly enveloping her body. Feeling every single spot, maybe a bit more than I needed to. She let out a little moan and the next second I had separated and landed on the floor. I took out a big blanket I had prepared for this occasion, and the very next moment I began to change. Chapter 4. Gaining Workers and Fated Person. On the trip to the Dwarven Kingdom. Sage, do I have to fully eat something to be able to mimic it? Understood. No, using the skill analysis a lower form of mimicry can be used. You will not obtain any skills other than intrinsic skills with an analyzed target. However, you should be able to replicate the species of the target. That's great news. Getting corpses of certain species would be quite the hassle, but if all it takes is analyzing closely, it will save me a lot of trouble. And it means I will get to practice my skills in a humanoid form. In that case, Sage, I want you to stay on the lookout for one person using magic sense. Intrinsic skill Spirit Magic Affinity gained. Due to fulfilling certain requirements, common skill Predator's Charms gained. Predator's Charm? What is that? Understood. Predator's Charm is a skill that makes the user more appealing to members of the same race as you are. So if you mimic a human or an elf, members of your current mimicry will find you more attractive, charming, or charismatic. The effect will be amplified with the person who was used for mimicry if they weren't consumed. That's good, right? Remembering Masayuki with his unique skill, the Chosen One, and how inconvenient it could be for him, I got a little worried. This skill could come in handy for diplomatic meetings if I could control it better. But for now, it would be better to turn it off until I am familiar with it. Don't want another Masayuki accidental hero. Understood. Deactivating passive skill Predator's Charm. Emerging from under the blanket, a nude body appeared. The most important part for the owner of it. I have a dick, no more Barbie Ken doll body for this slime. Listening to the concerned voices near him, he stood up and wrapped the blanket around him. He had some clothes, but they were not that great at covering him up, as he didn't want to waste resources obtaining things that might not fit. Just a few more days and I'll be back in the village and I'll get some proper clothes there. His face emerged to show a handsome yet slightly childish elven face. Medium-sized blue hair and white skin with bright golden eyes. Around 4 feet tall with plenty of room to grow. Once he had an orc lord for breakfast and a demon lord awakening for dinner. Before he could have enough time to adjust his age with the black magicule mist, the very same elf he had mimicked jumped at him, picked him up, and smashed his face against her bountiful chest. I can't believe it, I have become an older sister. To such a cute brother. Come on, call me One-E-san. Your big sis will give you lots of love. Due to having mimicked her, they truly did look like siblings if you didn't count the hair. Unfortunately, or fortunately, he had chosen the only person in this place with a severe bro-con problem. Considering my options, it really wouldn't be that bad to bring back an elf or two on this trip. So he lowered his pride for the time being and decided to enjoy his stay for as long as he could. Don't worry if you don't like this, the little brother act won't last too long, or well it can if you guys do like it equals DD equals. Big sis, please let me go, I can't breathe. But before he could enjoy the moment, the other big-chested blonde elf pulled me back and said, "Come on Lena, give the guest a chance to introduce himself first. Then you can have your fun, but slow down a bit. Remember, we aren't a brothel, we are a bar." "Oh, I apologize for that, little brother, why don't you introduce yourself to my friends?" "Oh hi, my name is Rimuru Tempest. The future leader of the Forest of Jura. See that, my brother has big dreams." This was followed by a light chuckle from the group. And then we found ourselves at the table. Cajun, Garm, Dold, and Mert had both given me jealous looks and thumbs up. I was sitting on Lena's lap, resting my head on her chest. We had started to tell stories about our life stories. Turns out, Lena had decided to run away from home with Aaron to search for a better life where they could make decisions for themselves. Not having to marry someone just because it was for the greater good of the family. They met up with Aaron, the owner of this club, and they were offered a place to stay. Only having to dress to impress and serve drinks. Aaron was the dark-skinned, dark-haired elf who had brought up a divination ball to see my fated one. In the vision, I saw Shizu with the failed hero summoning kids. Then it changed to Shizu wearing her mask. Her body faded, but her mask remained. It showed another girl with dark hair and a hero outfit picking it up without showing her face. And as she placed the mask on her face, the vision cut out. There were a lot of talks at the table discussing the possibility of who the person was and if she was a hero due to her outfit. But of course, all good things have to come to an end. Alert! The person you requested me to look out for is approaching the establishment. Well, it was time to say goodbye for now. But once I was back, I would make sure to give them a proper place to stay in my city. I turned back into my slime form. Yawn, it is kind of tiring to be in a different form for a long time. And a few moments later the door burst open and entered the one and only Vesta. Of course, he took one glance at the slime relaxing on the woman's legs and took it personally, so he decided that the best course of action was splashing water on me. Not that it mattered since I had a lake full of water in my stomach just in case. But hey, good guy Cajun decided to fight back for me. Next thing we know, we are in the court in front of the king for a judgment. Whilst our lawyer tries to screw us over and we are forced to just be quiet. And since Cajun had good guy points with the king, we got off with a banishment. Not a bad deal for me since I can always mimic some other species and walk in as long as I am sneaky enough. Plus, as far as they knew, I was but a slime. We had a few hours to pack our stuff and leave, so we stopped at Cajun's forge, and I was surprised to see Lena and Aaron standing worried as can be in front of it. "Are you guys okay? That man has come into our club before and every time he has caused trouble. You guys will be fine, right? We can send Aaron to send a request for forgiveness. Since she's the owner of the business, they might be able to drop the charges or maybe lower them," Lena said with worry in her voice. "Well," Cajun explained, "we have been banished." At this, Lena and Aaron looked at each other. Lena had a determined face and Aaron gave a resigned sigh. "We are coming with you." "What?" "I asked Aaron to look into my destiny when you were captured and it showed the brightest results whenever I followed you. I wasn't as serious when I said it before, but now your big sis is gonna make sure you stay safe. And well, someone has to make sure that Lena doesn't do anything too stupid and gets herself hurt. You may not believe it, but I know a thing or two about magic, so I can keep us safe," said Aaron. "Well, in that case I promise you won't be disappointed. My village is just starting, but give it a few weeks and you will be surprised how quickly it turns into a prosperous city. Well, in that case we can't miss this chance. Garm, Dold, and Murd walked out from behind us. If you are leaving then we are leaving too, Cajun. Plus we have to repay our debt to the slime who saved our life. Cajun beamed a bright smile and said to me, I guess you're quite the lucky slime, today you are getting a lot of good workers. Hopefully, you take us in and give us a place to stay. Alright, let's pick up your tools and get to traveling. And also let's stop at a clothing store for a pair of clothes for the trip. It will probably take a day or two going back, but you don't have to worry about walking, we have mounts, quite the comfortable ones too. After taking a quick snack at Cajun's workshop and storing all his tools in my stomach, we left Worgen and arrived at the place where Rigger was taking care of the Tempest wolves. Luckily we had brought a few extras I had expected to bring people back. Just as we were about to head out we saw Gobta running out of the city on top of a Tempest wolf. Oh right, he had come here with us. Almost left him. Well, with everyone here, let's head out. During the ride back Lena and I had shared Ranga with her sitting in the front and me sitting in the back in my elf form. Why? You ask? Well, you get to touch a few places here and there when you are in the back. I had placed my hand on her chest and was slowly fondling trying to get a reaction. And as she looked back at me I saw her crimson red face and a trace of lust in her eyes. We were going pretty fast on wolves so our actions would go unnoticed by the other people nearby. And seeing as she had not complained nor stopped me, I lowered one hand until I reached her lower lips. I felt her tense up, but the moment I touched her I felt how wet she was as I put my hand through her skirt and touched her underwear. Fondling such a beautiful girl of course brought me a boner. And she must have felt it through her back because she suddenly moved back to press her butt on it. Of course, there is only so much you can do while moving on top of a wolf without risking falling, so in the end, we only made ourselves horny without being able to release. After we stopped for the night, Lena and I sneaked off for a bit at night into a more private area. You naughty man, did no one tell you it isn't nice to tease your big sis? You know I don't. He quickly turned himself into his adult version. Instantly became taller than the elf, making her hold her breath as she lost herself in the transformation. You naughty elf. You think that with all the teasing at the club? With how you kept pulling me close to your chest that I wouldn't tease back? Grabbing her by the waist he pressed her to himself, bringing their faces next to each other. To be honest, Lena didn't know what was going on with her. This was the first time she had gotten so close to a guy, and it all started the moment she saw his face. An instant connection was made for her. She felt it when he was analyzing her. Like the person who was standing in front of her was the one for her. A small seed of desire she played off as an overly affectionate big sis. She did feel a bit annoyed when his fated person was not her but some hero. It was ridiculous after all to fall so easily to someone she knew to be a slime, if it weren't for fate playing tricks with her. Asking Aaron to look at her fate when Rimuru and Cajun were arrested was what pulled the final straw. Seeing the adult form of the handsome elvish face of the slime she had met earlier was what sealed the deal for her. She had decided to follow him. And Aaron, the girl who she saw as a sister, followed her. A bit of guilt for her feelings followed her seeing his young face. She wanted to bring him to an isolated place to tell him that maybe they needed to stop and wait until he was older. But seeing him change to an adult elf. Yeah, that made her give up on holding back. After all, if the grown elf in front of her was what fated laid in front of her, why should she hold back? She launched her lips onto his and let herself go. He was a little surprised. This was not his first kiss, but it was the first kiss he had received that was so passionate. He felt her tongue dancing in his mouth, and as if by instincts their tongues started to dance in a fierce battle with each other. Instincts he didn't know he had were leading him. He lowered his hand, reached to her butt and squeezed as he pulled her as close as he could. As if trying to become one with her. Next thing he knew he had taken off her dress and was slowly kissing her neck, then her chest, then one breast as he licked and lightly bit her, making her release a moan. I was eager to continue, but she stopped me with a smile on her face and said. I know what you are thinking, I want to too. But people are waiting for us and if we don't go back soon enough we'll get interrupted. We can continue once we have a private moment without any interruptions. I guess that makes sense. She gave me a quick peck on the cheek and marched off toward the camp. Full of energy and with a wide grin. I couldn't help but let out a chuckle as I followed her. Today was a good day.